The importance of a father. It's so interesting that we come into the world, we have access to our everyday basics: food, drink, sunshine, air, okay? And then take it a step further, we have our relationships with family, friends, maybe colleagues, okay, people from work, or maybe just everyday acquaintances, people we meet in our daily activities, even random activities, sometimes planned or unplanned, just everyday walk of life. Okay? And then over time, we've come to maybe just expect these things to just show up in our lives. Just be there. Okay, we have our food, we have our drink, we have our roof over our head, we have our relationships, and it's like, okay, they're there. So what? After a while, we may or may not even recognize them as anything special. It's just like they are there. Okay. But you know what? There's a quote that says something to the effect of, you don't know the value of something. You don't realize the value of something until it's gone. Okay, you don't realize, you don't know, you don't pause and think about the value of something until it's gone. And that is human nature. We've come to just expect things, especially in this day and age where, people are quite, entitled. In this day and age. Okay, back in the day, kids, okay, let's use kids as an example. Kids used to appreciate things, appreciate what they receive, appreciate the people around them. Nowadays, it's just like, give me, give me, give me more. Okay. And, sadly, adults are really no different. Things have changed. But the people who can really appreciate the value of something or even someone in their lives are those that either never had it or had it and lost it, okay, due to a number of circumstances, whatever they may be. Those are the people that understand the value of something, okay? So, this topic is about the importance of a father. And the quote that I mentioned earlier can apply to so many things, right? In terms of gratitude and appreciation and losing something and knowing the value of something. That can apply to so many different aspects, but today's topic is really going to focus on fatherhood. According to the United States Census Bureau, just under 20 million children live without a father in the home. You hear something like that and it's like, oh, okay, what does this mean? Okay, especially if you do have a father, right? What does this mean? And, why should I care? Basically. Um, well, let's get into it. The implications of not having a father in the home, according to statistics, according to data, is that those children that don't have that relationship established, that don't have the father in their home, are 4 times more likely to be poor. Okay? They're at greater risk for poverty. These children are 4 times more likely to, well, let's just say more likely actually to exhibit some sort of behavioral problem in their lifetime, particularly in their childhood. Generally speaking, children are at higher risk for physical, social, emotional, and psychological issues as a result of not having a father in the home or in their lives. They are more likely at greater risk for incarceration and either being a victim of crime or being involved with crime or being, sort of the perpetrator in that circumstance. And the next one is something that we've all heard before, but again, we can't not mention it, is the higher risk for pregnancy. Kids without a father, kids without a father are more likely to engage in higher risk behaviors, period. Okay, that's just the bottom line. Okay. You look at any home where there is no dad involved or present, let's say. Okay. Even just the presence of the dad makes a difference. Okay, you look at any home and just the behaviors of the children, they're either I guess too, for lack of a better term, too introverted within themselves, which is just an exhibit of maybe depression or some sort of anxiety. But on the flip side as well, you have just recklessness, reckless behaviors all over the place, right? That's very like already, adolescence is already a very sensitive period where recklessness is basically a characteristic of that season of life in many teenagers. Not all of them, but it is kind of a characteristic, a possible characteristic of that period of life. And then one thing that can exacerbate it is not having a father present. Okay, so let's go back. So these children as well, going back to the 20 million, right? 20 million children in America, and this is for America. 20 million children without a father are also more likely to experience abuse and neglect. Go figure. I mean, nobody's going to be super shocked by that, right? And we talked about the reckless behaviors, which is, drinking and driving, experimenting with drugs and substances of any kind, abusing substances, even usually once they start, who knows if you can even go back, right? Alcohol abuse, getting and hanging out with the wrong crowd. Okay, usually it's the father that intervenes and in those types of circumstances, if at all he has to, because the presence of a father by itself tends to limit those tendencies to even arise at all. And one more thing that is worth mentioning. Okay, we talked about the physical, we talked about the emotional and the social, some of the social aspects of not having a father around, and it must be said that those children are at higher risk for just low academic performance overall. Many of them tend to even drop out of school altogether. Okay, so there are more sort of things to mention, but this is some of the items that to keep in mind when it comes to fatherhood. Some people may or may not sort of see or understand the value of having a father. And sometimes dads themselves may not even realize what their presence brings. Okay, what they're contributing just by being around, much less actually being involved, right? So these are great things to consider, and more will be discussed in future videos.